vehicle. And they was like, yeah, we was planning to rob this bookies. And then they brought all these charges. They brought all these charges to us. And because like certain cars was used, so because they only really had evidence on one of the cars, and that was the car that I was in at the time, they can only charge us with four bookies. So we only got done for 4, which was a touch, really. Do you know what I mean?
So that's how they got you on the vehicle?
Yeah, so the ANPR of the vehicle never ever saw my face, never used phones, none of that stuff, you know. But it was the ANPR of one of the cars that was there. I happened to be in it, you know, but that was like a car that had only been used a couple times. Do you know what I mean? And there was different cars, you know, and they tried to charge us on all these before, but like the only ones that stuck, because the only evidence they had, like my case ended up becoming a circumstantial case. So it ended up being like, well, he's in this car.
Does it make him do it?
Yeah, so even like 2 of the charges wasn't actually me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so it was like, but it was kind of like, well, it could be a lot worse, so it is what it is kind of thing. But, you know, and it wasn't my co-D either. So one time my co-D was actually on the phone to his missus at the time that one of these robberies are happening. It was his missus's birthday. And that was his alibi. Like, look, I mean, the cell site's putting me in touch. They didn't even, the prosecution didn't even use cell site because it worked against them, because no cell site put us on the scene. In fact, it actually helped my co-D because he was on the phone to his missus on her birthday at the time. And then they said that, oh, you know, he had got someone to make that phone call, and it wasn't actually him on the phone. So the jury believed that, and we got found guilty on that charge, but we didn't actually do it. The actual gunman was like 6'1". I know who he is personally. Do you know what I mean? He's like 6'1". He's about 18 stone, black guy, hench, you know, and I'm slim, mixed race. Do you know what I mean? He was left-handed, so even like my defense was like, look, the gun's in his left hand, like I'm right-handed kind of thing.
Did they have CCTV?
Yeah, and when I went on the stand, I was like, this can't be me, look, he's dark-skinned. And they said, you know, the CCTV, don't watch it because, like, you know, the colouring can change. Do you know what I mean? Like, because the pixelation, the prosecution was really good. This was in the Old Bailey, so they had good prosecutors, you know. And then there was no prints on the gun. There was like, you know, they had, the flying squad had made so many mistakes. So we thought it was going on. Like, we thought we had the trial. Like, we thought we'd done it. And the fact that my co-D was on the phone, you know, and one of the guys was like this big black guy, like, you know, I thought, yeah, we've got to bust this case kind of thing, but we didn't. Like, jury came back and it was like, yeah, guilty. And I was like, shit.
How long did the trial go on at the Old Bailey?
Just under 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It's a long trial, man.
And what were the jurors like?
Oh, that was a piss take as well. So because it was in the Old Bailey, and some of these robberies happened like in, you know, more ethnic areas in London. So they was like, oh, if you're from Enfield, put your hands up. If you're from Tottenham, put your hands up. If you're from this area, and then they dismissed all of them. And then, you know, all the Asians or blacks, that they all went, do you know what I mean? And then it was just city folk after that. Like, it was just the people from the city where the old bit, and they was all in the jury. And yo, he was guilty, man. Do you know what I mean? They did not, you know. Yeah, we didn't stand a chance, but I still tried it because, like, we knew that we hadn't done, do you know what I mean, some of them. But then at the same time, after everything, I just kind of thought like I needed to sit down and take a break from what I'm like, you know.
What was the remand like?
Remand was Belmarsh, so that was horrible. I was remanded to Belmarsh. I was like a category A prison. And I was there at the same time as the Hatton Garden Robbers, so I got cool with all of them guys. And there was loads of high profile.
What were they like?
Oh, they're cool, man. They're sound. Do you know what I mean? I was cool with some guy called Danny, and he was like super cool. He was from like Enfield, Tottenham ways anyway, so we just kind of got along. But they was treated like they was